get started, fixing to do something and all that other kind of good stuff, even though it's taken me most of the day to get everything together and get ready. We've got a corner down here with a gate that goes up to a cattle crossing and then up and across that lot there up to the barn. And we need some way that we can capture the cows that we have back here behind me, ones that are hanging out here at the shed, because we're going to be taking a couple of them to the processor here at the end of this month, and we need to be able to sort them and send them up through the chute there. So we've already got a couple corner posts in here. We got to make sure that those are in good and nice and solid, and then we got some more holes we got to dig along the side here and across the back by the fence there. And no, I am not doing it by hand. We're using the little mighty Kubota post hole digger. The only problem with the soil around here, if you want to call it soil, is there's more rocks and clay than there is actual soil. So we'll see what we can get done, but at least using this has got to be somewhat quicker than using a shovel, right? Well, before we can start digging the hole to put these posts in, we needed to measure out and figure out where we wanted to put the posts. Measured it out, used some of this fluorescent marking paint, so all I have to do is just back up with the tractor and the post hole digger, punch a hole, next one punch a hole, next one punch a hole, next one punch a hole. Get all the measuring done first and then double check everything to make sure the way that you're going to build what you're building is going to fit, because you don't want to put the posts in the hole and then figure out your gates don't fit or there's not enough room to sort the cattle. How many of you were placing bets that I wasn't going to be able to get that post hole digger 4 foot down to our frost level here? Well, for those of you that said that I would, you're wrong. It's a pipe dream. Very rarely are we able to get our post hole digger or even posts pounded into the ground 4 foot down. So we got this one here, 3 foot. So let me show you what we put in the hole and not just backfill it with dirt. We have these buckets of stone, commonly known as 2RC. It's crush and run, or run and crush stone. It's got what they call fines in it, like a clay type dirt. Plus, they're pretty sharp stones. You wouldn't necessarily want to use this on your road, even though the state does. We've had lots of flat tires on our back roads from some of our neighbors, but put the post in the hole after you clean out all of the loose dirt, and then we backfill around the post with this 2RC. It helps to grip the post, and when this stuff gets moisture in it, it's almost as hard as concrete. So we put the 2RC stone in the hole down around the bottom of the post. You might be able to see down in there. Of course, it was just dumped in loose. So now we have to use this tamper. It's a big pry bar. It's got a pry tip on one end and a tamper on the other. You have to go around the post, tamping the stone down to make sure that it's good and solid all the way around the whole post before we backfill it with any dirt. And then we gradually backfill it with the dirt that came out of the hole, tamping it and backfilling and tamping it and backfilling as we fill the hole back up again to make sure it's good and solid around the post so it doesn't turn, bend, or heave. You also want to make sure that the pole is straight, all 4 directions, before you start doing this. Woo-wee! I tell you what, it don't feel like the first week of May, but we got rain coming tonight. And once it starts, it's supposed to rain for the next 5 to 7 days. So we got the posts in. We got all those posts in there. And then we got these here, this one and that one in. So even in the rain, we have all these. These are the horizontal ones. So those are going to go between these posts about 1 foot increments up from the ground, the first one, then a foot, then a foot, then a foot. So there's going to be 4 of them in between to give that visual barrier for when the cows are in here, kind of calm them down. And then we're going to do the same thing between here where the wire is right now. We're going to leave the wire. We're going to put the post between the wires, between these posts. It'll help keep them calm, believe it or not, because if they can see an escape route, you better believe they're going to go for it. So tomorrow, depending on how much rain we get, and if it's a nuisance on and off again, we'll be down here putting these puppies up horizontally between the other ones. And then I'll show you how we do that. Well, it's another beautiful day out here. We lucked out and didn't get too much rain last night, about 0.14 of an inch, so just enough to dampen everything up, but it's dried out pretty good. So we're able to get most of a full day in here. It would be a full day, but I don't move that fast anymore. So instead of boring you with how to take measurements with a tape measure, how to saw, and how to use a hammer, I thought that I would just show you what I've gotten done so far this morning. I told you I was going to be putting those fence posts in horizontally to create the visual that they can still see through, and we can climb over if we have to. But it will stop the cows. They'll come up to that, and it'll definitely slow them down and stop them better than if we just had high tensile electrified wire in there. So that's what we're doing between the rest of these posts. This is going to be an enclosed corral. We're going to continue right up here around to this one. And then we are going to have to go down along the side here where the wire is, because we don't want to lose them once we get them into this corral. So what I was doing after we got the post put in the ground is then very simply, you just go down between where the 2 posts are, take your measurement, use a circular saw, reciprocating saw, cut in the length, and then we use these pins. They're fencing pins. They come in 2 lengths. I guess this is about 10 inches, and then they have ones that are 5 or 6 inches. Drill the holes through there. We put them about every 12 inches from the ground up, and go from there. Whew. Well, it's been a long 3 days, and a big thank you go out to Scott and Cody Spalding of Judson's Feed Mill right here in Columbia Crossroads. I was 2 pins short of being able to finish this project today. Get these 2 pins in, hang those 2 posts, and we're done, except for hanging the gate. There's our gathering and sorting corral that we're going to be using here in about the next 3 weeks to sort out some of these ladies that are up back here. 2 of them are going to be going up here to the barn. The rest of them are staying down here. So once again, thank you very much for saving the day and helping me finish mine. It's been a long 3 days of doing fence posts. I can't do what I used to even 10 years ago. Thank you to Judson's Feed Mill in Columbia Crossroads. That's where these fence posts came from as well. All the hardware, you can't get better fencing supplies than Judson's in Crossroads.